And it wasn't just the native people who were being really annihilated in some of this. You know, claim jumpers, you shoot a claim jumper. So that happened a lot in the gold area. Sometimes the white people would be killing white people. If somebody just walked on their land, they claimed. So there was a lot of other killing going on too. So killing was terrible. One ploy, one thing that they would do to, I don't know, make them feel better or something. If some new person, for instance, would move in or near Round Valley, American, where they may go over and burn his house down. And then they leave bows and arrows there, which is an indication that the Indians attacked this settler, which gave them better excuse to go down the reservation and just start killing. Killing is somehow a disease, I think. If you start killing, maybe you can't stop. You know, like a dog starts killing chicken. I don't think you can stop that dog from killing chickens anymore. You got to do something to the dog or get rid of the chicken. But basically, I think that thing gets in human beings too. A very evil spirit invades, becomes paramount. It takes over.
One of the deal about the government too, to send all the children away to government schools so they could lose their culture, lose their language. And that's what they did. Most of those that went to these schools lost the language. And when they came back, they could hardly talk or didn't even know it anymore because they were too young.
And not only that, when you're restricted, your lifestyle's changing, you're restricted. You can't go hunting. You're not supposed to go walking in the mountains. You're not supposed to go gather any food. You're not supposed to cross a white man's field out here to go get some medicine to go have your ceremony. Or you're not supposed to do it. You get no trespassing everywhere. Causes your whole spirit to atrophy. When your spirit atrophies, it gives up on your body, and your body deteriorates, and it turns very soft. And instead of running and climbing mountains and hunting and fishing and making baskets and gathering material, things like that, people are basically watch television and sometimes have a job, and a lot of times not have a job, but continue that very poor diet because we're left out of the economy. You know, we're left out of the economy chain. We're not supposed to have anything. We're not supposed to appreciate anything. We're not supposed to love each other. We're not supposed to have emotions. We're not supposed to, these things aren't supposed to, we're not supposed to have tender feelings. We're not supposed to have those things. We're supposed to be savage. We're supposed to be crude. We're supposed to be like a caveman mentality. And that's what they keep telling us. They keep telling our children. That's why I work with children. That's why you work with children. Because we've got to get that out of the textbooks, get that out of their thinking, get that out of their heart, and get that out of their mind, because their mind is very powerful.
I think it's real bad for all of us, all of you in this room, to see yourselves as victims of history. Once you put the mantle of victim on, you become helpless, and that's exactly the way the government has liked us. The reason they're so damn upset about the casinos is that suddenly you get Indians with money, and everybody's upset because they're so much more attractive when they're poor and helpless and dependent.
Remember Andrew Jackson? He said, annihilate the Indian from the face of the earth. See, but we're still here. We're so persistent. But that's what happened.
You cannot kill a people.
No,
spirit.
Because
the spirit, the will to live is there.
And you know, when they said we want you to assimilate into the dominant society, we can't, because we have our own ways. We have our own religion. We can't join them. We can learn their language and do whatever they do, but we can't become a part of them. It's impossible.
Everybody has an umbilical cord attached to their mother, but you also have a spiritual umbilical cord, the ehlo. The ehlo attaches from where your belly button is to the center of the earth, to the center of the universe, and that's exactly where you're supposed to be, according to your ehlo. So they have this very strong ehlo. You could stretch it, but you couldn't break it.
I think the beautiful part of my history is, yes, my elders knew what they lost. They lost their homelands, they lost their culture, they lost their language, and everything they possibly ever dreamed of was gone. But yet they held on to the hope and believe that someday for their children, their grandchildren, their great-great-grandchildren, not yet born, there would be a better time, that the culture and everything that they lost would come back around and return. They believed in these things wholeheartedly. And I'm fortunate enough to see a small part of this come to pass and come true. That I have this heritage to pass down to the young people that I work with. So it's beautiful. And even what's happening right now, sitting in front of this camera, we'll be able to reach out to people in the far, dark areas of the world. And to be able to record the life and history of our elders. It's a beautiful prophecy that's coming to pass. And once again, Floyd, thank you for this opportunity.
One of the final acts of the Holocaust against Indians in the California story was the 1863 roundup and death march to the largest concentration camp in California, the Round Valley Reservation. Located in Northern California, this concentration camp was created to hold several Indian nations. They were the Yuki, Kankau-Maidu, Little Lake and other Pomo, Nome Lackey, Cahote, Wailaki, and Pitt River. Whenever an Indian killed a white settler or miner, it created an excuse for militias to go down to the reservation and shoot any amount of Indians, including elders, women, and children, as retribution. This happened so often that Round Valley became known as the abattoir or the slaughter area. This overview is a contemporary picture of how the Holocaust still exists today. Indians have been decimated throughout history. They were left to languish in concentration camps while the rest of the country grew and prospered. Indians were being written off as roadkill cultures of manifest destiny. Before living in concentration camps, Indians had a perfect diet. In the concentration camps, they were forced to survive on government subsidies of flour, lard, sugar, salt, and canned meats. Often these meat products were contaminated. As a result of that diet, diabetes is prevalent in most Indian nations today. Today, Indians live with many forms of institutional racism. The movie industry continues to ridicule and stereotype Indians and their culture. While movies that denigrate African Americans and Hispanics are no longer there, those depicting Indian stereotypes can still be seen daily on television. This becomes a type of residual Holocaust that we live with today. Another form of residual Holocaust is racism in sports. Racism exists in all levels of sports today in their use of mascots. While there are no teams called Pittsburgh Negroes or New Jersey Jews, Indian people have to live with Washington Redskins, Cleveland Indians, Arcadia Apaches, and their insulting caricatures. Indians are further ignored as the rightful owners of this country, having lost their culture and land much like the victims of the Jewish Holocaust. Indians have lost their land and culture through the ruthless dominating efforts of America in the name of God, freedom, and democracy. Who will speak for the rightful owners of this land? When America goes to war with a nation and is victorious, it implements plans to help rebuild those defeated nations. Who will help rebuild the Indian nations that have been decimated and continue to exist in their present conditions? There is a moral challenge to the civilized world to address the issue of land and cultural retrieval for Indian people. There is a healing that needs to take place in America. America needs to heal from its violent past, or it will continue as it does today. In the aftermath of the Nazi Holocaust and World War II, German political leaders, military officers, and the German people were put on trial before the Nuremberg Tribunal. All were charged with war crimes, high crimes against humanity, and genocide, and all proclaimed their innocence. Military officers said they were only following orders. Political leaders and the German people proclaimed innocence by saying they had no idea what was going on in the concentration camps. To their protests of innocence, U.S. Supreme Court Justice Robert Jackson, who was the chief U.S. prosecutor at Nuremberg, responded to their protests of innocence by saying, "Certain acts and violations of treaties are crimes. They are crimes whether Germany commits them or whether the United States commits them. We are not prepared to impose a code of criminal conduct against others that we would not be willing to have invoked against us."